Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching Fanboy.
A fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
I assume Tom.
You know her from the band Turkuaz, and she's ventured out on her own, now with her sophomore EP entitled Earth Sun. I'm sorry, that's the single is entitled Earth Sun, with the EP called, let's do that one again. Let's take two. All right. You know her formerly of Turkuaz, but now she's with her sophomore EP entitled Services, due out on December 2nd, but her latest single, Earth Sun, is now available. Shira Elias, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you. You know, we get to every once in a while talk to a couple of musical artists that really inspire and get people moving, and you've done so recently.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to be here.
You know, your background, obviously you were performing with the band, you ventured out as a solo artist. What's the difference in moving away from being in a group setting like that to being the main focal point?
Oh my gosh, so much, so much. I mean, lots of pros and cons. Turkuaz was like a whole machine. You have this whole entity moving for you and, pretty responsible. So you kind of get to just like show up and do the job. When it's just you, it's just you. So, a lot more responsibility, but then with that comes a lot more freedom and agency to, make all your own decisions. So it's been a challenge, but like really fulfilling to do, all the roles that were always done for me.
Yeah. And so now the fact that you get to sit there and do it yourself, is it more rewarding? Like, my background is originally individual sports. So like wrestling, swimming, judo, shot put, discus, where you have to rely on, yes, there's a team behind you, but you have to rely on yourself when you either step onto the mat, the field, or get in the pool. Is it almost like becoming a solo sport participant when you leave behind having a band that was there that you guys played off each other?
I mean, to an extent, but at the same time, music is, when I say solo artist, I'm not standing there by myself on stage. I play with a band. I have a band. So, music is so collaborative anyway, in general. So I don't know if it's, it's not solely on me or always like making music with people. But kind of the whole administrative side, the business side, social media, promo, all that stuff, the behind the scenes stuff, I would say, yes, that feels like, oh my God, it's me. It's on me. If I don't make this happen, no one's going to make this happen.
I got you.
Yeah.
Take us through this EP Services. How does it differ from the first EP? Your style has this rhythmic funk level to it, but it also, someone described it as futuristic, but I feel almost more melodic in your delivery. How did you develop this style as well?
Oh, I love that. So the first EP, Goods, the EP, was my first debut solo work. And I was living in New York at the time. And my partner and producer, Mega, we did that together. That was the first thing we did together. And then, we decided to move to LA. And then 2 weeks before full lockdown pandemic, we drove out to LA, and Services was that whole time, like moving across the country, being trapped in our apartment and evolving into this new, whatever this new world, this new life is. So I think you really hear that in the production, in the writing. We had a lot of time to just grow and kind of, New York is like, it's, that hustle, it's hard. You're like, go, go, go. I was still touring with Turkuaz a lot. So it was very like, I'm in the hustle. And then cut to pandemic, everything stops. We're in LA. It's a lot more like sunshine. It's chill Cali vibes. So yeah, you really hear that in the music. And I really feel like I got to spend a lot of time working on my craft and my pen and, writing and what is that voice. So it's an amalgamation of me, Mega, melodic, which I like that you said the future thing, because future soul is kind of what we've sort of found that we like, where it's a lot of like, classic soul melodies and performance with a lot more progressive electronic production.
And so the first one's called Goods, the second one's called Services, is the third one going to be called Retail at this point?
That's so funny. No one ever said that. I think it's just goods and services, and those are the two, and then we're gonna keep it moving from there.
Okay,
Yeah.
since goods and services are a huge part of retail, so I thought
I
we'd just
know.
throw it out there.
Maybe like one day we'll put like everything under an umbrella of we'll make like a collection of retail.
That's the box set. There we go.
Exactly.
Take us through Earth Sun. First of all, interesting title for a song. God forbid we ever get that close to the sun and we evaporate from it. How did you come up with the title? What was the inspiration for the single?
So we did a session with like a new collaborator friend, Jeffrey Wilson, and it was the day, I don't know if you remember, in the news came out that like it was the closest that cameras and scientists had ever gotten a picture of the sun. Like, do you remember when that happened? It was a couple years ago. And so I was just inspired by that. We were in a writing session, and you just like come up with little ideas, and that little hook, this is the closest we've been as the Earth to the sun. And we kind of riffed off of that, which it's actually about a relationship with someone in my life that like we weren't connecting, and so it's kind of just all about that. Like there's these two characters, the Earth and the sun, orbiting around and trying to connect, trying to get close to each other. So that was how that song came about.
Without burning up, more or less.
Yeah. Or what are you gonna do when you get burned?
Music festivals have become such a huge part of performing, especially with either emerging artists or people that have had past success that they just want to hear their hits. When you go to a festival like North Beach Music Festival and perform with other artists that you've either admired or have never collaborated with, and now you get to meet each other backstage, what does that mean to you as a performer and as an artist to sit there and even work on future collaborations?
Festival time is such a special time for scenes. I mean, like I can only really speak to, most of my career I was with Turkuaz doing festivals, so that's sort of like the jam funk scene. And it's like your fam that time of year when it's like you're on the same circuit as a lot of the same bands. You see each other, and it's like you get to see your family, you get to see your community. It's a real community of musicians, which I feel so lucky to be a part of. Now that I get to do it under my name and be on the bill, North Beach is actually the first festival that my solo project is on. So it's cool that I've done North Beach Festival before, played with all these bands in Turkuaz, but this will be a really special, I get to see my family, all these bands that I love and play with all the time. But it's going to be in a different capacity for me this time, which is super exciting. I get to be like, yeah, it's me. Hi guys, this is what I do. So yeah, it's special. Festivals are the best. I love festivals.
Well, you just mentioned family, and of course, festivals are always a lot of fun. I've covered several, whether it's been punk, metal, what's it called, country, and even some of these more melodic styles. When your biological family sees you perform, and let's throw your mom in there for example, remembering you at 3 years old, singing your heart out or screaming at the time because you were 3 and didn't know how to control your voice, to now as an adult performer out there on stage. What's her reaction in seeing that evolution over time?
That's really funny you should ask, because so I just did a little run in Southern California of my shows, and my parents live in Vancouver. I was born and raised in Vancouver, BC, and my mom came down for the shows, and it was a really special thing because she just you can just see she's beaming with pride, and she's talking to all the staff people and be like, that's my daughter, I made that. And I lived in New York for 11 years, pretty far away from my parents, so they didn't actually get to see me perform all that much during that time. So now that I'm closer, and yeah, they get to see me a lot more. And I think my mom and my dad, they love it. It's pretty cool. They made me, and that's what I do. So that's kind of a cool, I don't have kids, so I can only imagine, but they're super proud.
I love the fact that your mom runs around screaming, I made her.
I know. I mean, I don't know if she legitimately said those words, but that was the vibe. That's what I could pick up on, that she's just so proud and like, just like beaming. She was like kind of almost really giddy and excited to be there. And she actually came to 2 of the shows, which I was like so surprised. She drove down to San Diego the next day and like a little groupie, and it was great. She had the best time.
That sounds like an awesome adventure, and having such supportive parents.
Yeah, no, I'm super lucky.
Yeah. People typically use music to soothe their emotions, whether they're having a rough day, they want to listen to something that puts them in their feelings. Whether they're having a great day, something that's upbeat, that they want to enjoy the afternoon and dance in their living room. Something, a little more angry so they can work out in. But as a musician, how do you escape from work, since music is your career?
Good question. How do I escape with music?
With or from music, even sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's both. It's all of the above. Sometimes, especially after like a gig that's super loud, or a session where you've just been like thinking so hard about music the whole time. There's sometimes like I'll be in the car or with someone, I'm just like, can we just not listen to anything? Can silence? Sometimes that can be really soothing and peaceful when like you've been really inundated. Like your ears sometimes need a break. But conversely, I have my favorites. I have my go-tos that soothe me, that like is what I will automatically be drawn to, which is mostly like R&B, neo soul, that, and like, specifically really amazing vocalists that I love to listen to, that, makes me feel good. Generally more like chill vibes is what kind of lets me relax, which makes sense.
Well, it goes along with what you perform.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, especially like coming out of like the funk world, I've always been accustomed to creating the party, and like, especially Turkuaz was like a real big party band. And I think that's, important, people come out to celebrate together, to rejoice, and like in that kind of communal ritual. So yeah, I like to, that energy, bring up the energy. And then sometimes when I'm alone, it's, want to bring it down.
Yeah. And so for yourself, when you bring it down, that's your style. Do you turn down the lights? Do you just do you light some candles? Like, how do you set the mood for yourself in that regard?
How do I set the mood for myself? I mean, sure. Yeah. I mean, I think like any person does, I mean, light a few candles every now and then, or just, smoke a bowl and chill out with my now husband. I just got married a month ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's actually, my producer, Mega. We are musical partners and life partners. So that is awesome. But yeah, I mean, chilling out and just putting on music is, yeah, like any other regular person does, or headphones, or, the use.
So your work husband's your now life husband.
Yes, exactly. They're one and the same. He is one and the same.
Yeah. Can't sit there and go to the office to escape a fight from the spouse. I see how it is.
No, we have to go to the bedroom to escape.
Yeah. Well, let's put it like that. How do you do that switch between the professional relationship and the personal relationship? Because sometimes they cross over, and both of you can get in your feelings and be like, wait a minute, I didn't like that. Like, do you like, all right, from like 8 to 5, that's it, it's work, and then 5 we can go back to fighting what we were arguing about yesterday?
That's funny. I mean, I think we're both very fortunate that we do have a really good communication, so we're pretty good at like being honest and giving each other space when we need it. But at the same time, we work on this project together, and I'm fortunate, especially right now, I work on a lot of other projects and tour with other people, as he works on other projects and has other job stuff that he works on. So we're not, honestly, I wish we could work on our stuff more together. I wish we could do it all the time, which hopefully we'll be working towards this being like our main thing. But yeah, I was like out on the road all summer with the George Clinton P-Funk tour. And so, yeah, we definitely have time apart to be able to, do our own thing, so that when we do come together, it's like, this is really awesome. This is great.
And, just kind of a little known band with P-Funk.
Yeah, I mean, I was touring in a band called the Motet that was opening for P-Funk, but it was on the P-Funk tour, which is, pretty iconic, pretty epic.
When you get to perform with George Clinton,
Right?
it's one of those things that you can never forget.
You mean only the godfather of the whole genre of funk,
Yeah,
basically?
exactly. Just some guy.
No big deal. No
Yeah.
big deal.
You have to downplay it sometimes to keep the cool factor up. But when it's George Clinton, you never can.
Right. Well, yeah, when the whole thing was over and like I got to meet him a few times, take pictures with him, and I was just like, did that actually happen? That like it was so awesome. And he's so low key and for all the crazy stories, I mean, they've obviously he's chilled out a lot. He's just turned 81. So it's not like it used to be. But yeah, it was a very chill tour, more chill than I thought it was gonna be. It's great.
When you get to tour with somebody like George Clinton, and then you see the artists that are still touring, him, Willie Nelson, who's I think also in his 80s or at least almost there. Springsteen's in his 60s. Bon Jovi, they're still running around. Kiss is still running
The
around.
Stones.
Yeah, the Stones will never die. I saw Tony Bennett when he was 91. I saw Frankie Valli when he was 89. What what do you learn from these people and their longevity? And do you sit there and you're like, how do you guys keep up the energy and the physicality of doing these 90-minute to 3-hour shows?
I mean, I pray that I can, still be running around like that when I'm that age. I mean, having a lot of money helps. I think that's, they have at anything at their disposal. From doing this by myself, obviously on like a way different level and scale than they are, but it takes so much out of you when the struggle of it all, like having to do all the roles, having to really worry, especially like now more than ever, you talk about all these iconic legends, like they came up in a really different time for artists and musicians. There was no social media, there was no streaming platforms. It was a different world, obviously. So yeah, I mean, I hope it can change around for artists, and I hope that things can get better and easier for us to make a living and actually concentrate on the art, which I think is sometimes gets buried under all the other bullshit you have to do. So yeah, I don't really remember the original question, but I hope that I can last as long as them.
Does it almost feel like it's a singles market again, like in the 1950s, where everybody was just buying singles instead of full albums at this point with the streaming services?
100%. I mean, I love listening to a full album, and that's more and more rare that people are making them, let alone people are listening to them. But when you get a good album, I mean, it's nothing like just sitting down with the whole thing and being taken on that journey. And so far, I'll be putting out 2 EPs, which are shorter, but the next project, I definitely want to do an LP and kind of like really focus on what that like story is.
And when you sit there and you decide to put that LP together, how does the process go of selecting songs? Because I'm sure you have like a notebook of 300 and something songs at this point, and you're just trying to figure out which way what goes where.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do, less so for me. I think like it's nice to be able to like, we kind of like we finished this chapter and this kind of represents where we're at with the writing and in our lives. And then like, pretty much now we're starting to write those songs that are going to probably end up being on the LP, or we're not totally sure how we're going to do it. We definitely want to keep putting out content for multiple reasons, because you have to just keep releasing in this day and age. You can't really like take that like every 2 years you release an album, because you'll kind of like disappear in this climate. But yeah, no, we're working on it now, writing all that. And I don't know, I guess you just see how the process, well, also like financially it costs a lot to record music, costs a lot to put music out. So you're limited also with, you can't necessarily record 30 songs and then choose the best 12. You have to kind of like, or at least I do have to be a little bit more focused and intentional with the budget. So yeah, I mean, we're writing those songs now, and I think it'll just kind of like organically present itself, which are the right ones to go on the LP.
when you've just recently mentioned, or you just mentioned a couple of moments ago, that you like how everything fits in its own time frame and its own pocket of time, and that's what you were going through at the moment when it was released. Is that also a hindrance in social media? Because you have people that you haven't seen since like the third grade posting the class photo where you had a bad hair day or something, and people don't want you to escape what they boxed you in at from that time period. How does that hinder an artist where who you are today versus who you are at 19 is not the same person?
Yeah. I mean, I think like, I don't know if it hinders or it's just all part of the story, and it's all part of, if people are still, if you're still relevant in any way, or if people are talking about you or sharing things about you, I think it's all part of the package. But I guess the point is that we're all trying to evolve. I mean, I am trying to evolve, and I love seeing things from the past that remind me of where I came from and how far I've come. And also that, girl in third grade with bad hair day is still me, like it's all part of the same being. So yeah, I wouldn't look at it as a hindrance. I think people trying to box you in and not wanting you to evolve. I see what you mean by that, of, like coming from Turkuaz, where people saw me as one thing for a long time. And now that I'm stepping out and kind of being like, this is actually, there's so much more to me than just that. Some people can be a little resistant, but I think that when you really show people who you are, and that's like what people want, is authenticity, and they want vulnerability, and they want, when you really show people who you are, I think people gravitate towards that.
I dig it. When you come up with a melody, is it something, you're washing the dishes, you're folding laundry, and then just a melody pops in your head? Or how does inspiration usually strike for you?
I think all of it, all of the above. For me at least, there's not really one thing that happens. I'm singing constantly all day, every day, whether it's singing along with music or just randomly singing in the shower. Melody, they're just endless. So if something comes and like it's honestly more about like the lyric to me when that strikes, and then I'll probably record it on a voice memo or write it down or on like a note. But usually with the writing, I feel like it's like usually in the creation process, we'll be in a session and Mega will make a beat, or I'll be with someone and we're like just riffing off each other. And then it just kind of like organically mutates to what it is. So it's less, yeah, I don't know. I think all of the above, it just depends.
I know quite a few engineers, my father having had been one of them, where because mathematics is so ingrained into them that they'll see angles and they'll see the shapes just by looking at something and can automatically tell you if it was poorly designed or if it was well designed.
Yeah.
Do you hear music everywhere, whether it's the dripping of the coffee as it's being made, to like the leaky sink, to a car backfiring, or whatever it is in your surroundings that like you can pick up from it and hear like the tonality of it?
Yeah, I think maybe not as like what's the word? Like unceasing as some people that are like really hardcore, like perfect pitch or like technically musical, but definitely rhythms and like, or like if I'm listening to music and then there's a lawnmower, it's like, is it in the same key? Is it the same? So definitely, I was out at a gig like deep in the woods in Texas last week. And in the evening, we called it like the symphony of nature, where like the crickets and all the insects, they were just like so loud because you're right in the middle of nowhere. And then there was a DJ playing Michael Jackson's Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And the symphony of the crickets was matching the same key as the Michael Jackson song. And it was amazing. It was like,
Wow.
how is this happening right now?
No, that's rad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shira, what do you want to be known for as an artist?
I want to be known for making the world better through music, and just that's always like what was at the heart of the intention of it, was to help make the world better for everybody.
I love it. Shira Elias, has been a great pleasure chatting with you. North Beach Music Festival is coming up. Remind us of the date of that.
It is December 10th in Miami. So all Florida peeps or everyone else, come check it out. It's a great festival. So many amazing artists. December 10th, North Beach Music Festival.
And services, the EP is available on Friday, December 2nd. And Earth Sun is out now. Where can we find you on social media if we want to connect with you?
Yeah, Instagram, Shira Bang Bang, 2 Shiras, 2 bangs. So Instagram, that's where I do my most stuff. And then on Facebook, Shira Elias. And shiraelias.com is my website. And then all the streaming platforms, everywhere you get music, YouTube, I'm there.